So, where it went wrong was, well, the universities, the scientific revolution, the Enlightenment period that brought philosophers and brought the scientific method in. It literally is where everything changed. Not really for the better, because then it started being about the Greek gods. Yeah, I'll show in a minute how true that is. So that was the 17th century when the Enlightenment period came in. So the 1776 founders, I've mentioned before that they believed in God, but they were always searching. You could tell in the stuff they write on foundersarchives.gov that they weren't bad people. Their intentions were in the right place, and I believe they were educated. They felt that was the best path for people. I also, reading their stuff, though, think it's what tripped them up the most, because the 1620 founders, the Pilgrims, they knew God. There's a difference between believing in God and knowing God, and you can know God. I mean, the biblical God. It's all about that Holy Spirit stuff. I'm not getting into that in this video, but that's the difference here, okay? So it would be very easy to lead many people astray using the universities, because I've said before that the science, it's rooted in raising up their Greek gods. That's what it goes back to. And so let me just say this before I get to how they turned Washington into a literal Greek god. Philosophers and scientists, this is the 17th century, of the period widely circulated their ideas through meetings at scientific academias, Masonic lodges, literary saloons, coffee houses, and printed books, journals, and pamphlets. The ideas of the Enlightenment undermined the authority of the monarchy and religious officials and paved the way for the political revolution of the 18th and 19th century. A variety of 19th century movements, including liberalism, socialism, and neoclassicism, trace their intellectual heritage to the Enlightenment. Worst thing ever, even though it came on the heels that we don't want a monarchy, we don't want control, it ended up using that as a way to take them all down the wrong path. That's the reason why today there's very few people that come out of the university that know God. Okay, some of them may believe in God, but very few even believe. Exactly the way that wicked one would do it. Just saying, it's the truth. The central doctrines of the Enlightenment were individual liberty and religious tolerance in opposition to an absolute monarchy. Sounds good, right? Nobody wants a monarchy. And power of religious authority, and the power of religious authorities. The Enlightenment was marked by an increased awareness of the relationship between the mind and the everyday media of the world, and by an emphasis of the scientific method and reductionism, along with increased questioning of religious orthodoxy. So that would be easy to do when you don't have you don't have enough people that know God. The people that need to really be heading up the churches. I mean, not that I'm into all this orthodoxy stuff. I'm not, because the Holy Spirit was the teacher. But you need people that know God. You got these people that are coming from all this Greek stuff, this Greek mythology, where they believed that you can become enlightened enough to become a god. Yeah, no, that's wrong-o. But that's what, after Washington died, he didn't want to become a god. But, well, Washington, D.C. turned him into one. Yeah. You wouldn't think that that's Washington, but it is. It's George Washington. I mean, he would be disgraced by this. He barely wanted to have to serve. They kept pulling him back in all the time, though. I mean, because he just was getting older, but all the people loved him. He would have never approved of this. But this is what Washington, D.C. has done. So literally, wait, there's more. I don't even want to say. Basically, it's Babylon. I used to joke that it's Babylon. Now I think, no, it's literally Babylon. So it says here, so this used to be in the Capitol, and then it's now in the Smithsonian. Total disgrace. It's all starting our path down this Greek gods, and you can raise in consciousness and become your own god crap. Yeah, it's why God said don't take from that tree. So the apotheos of Washington depicts George Washington sitting among the heavens. I'll show that picture in a minute. In an exalted manner or literary terms, ascending and becoming a god, apotheosis. The first U.S. president and commander-in-chief of the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War is allegorically represented surrounded by figures from classic mythology. So this is in the rotunda in the Capitol, painted on the very top. Yeah, he's raised up and ascended, but all of these women around him, oh, they all go back to Roman and Greek gods. George Washington is draped in purple worn by generals of the ancient Roman Republic during their triumphs, with a rainbow arc at his feet, flanked by the goddess Victoria, who's draped in green, using a horn to his left, and the goddess of liberty to his right. Liberty wears a red liberty cap, symbolizing emancipation from a Roman tradition where slaves were being held. Forming a circle between liberty and victory are 13 maidens, each with a star above her head representing the original 13 colonies. Several of the maidens have their backs turned to George Washington, said to represent the colonies that had seceded from the Union. So surrounding George Washington, the two goddesses and the 13 maidens are 6 scenes lining the perimeter, each representing a national concept allegorically from directly below George Washington in the center and moving clockwise. The first one is war. God of war, guardian of agriculture and the Roman people. The next one is science. Yes, science is Athena. God Athena, Greek god Athena, goddess of wisdom, warfare, and handicraft. The next one is marine. That would be Poseidon, king of the sea, god of the sea, storms, earthquakes, and horses. The next one is commerce. This is Hermes, god of commerce, god of boundaries, roads, travelers, merchants, thieves, athletes, shepherds, commerce, speed, cunning language, oratory, wit, and messages. The next one is mechanics. This god, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, it's below the picture, but the god of fire, volcanoes, metalworking, carpenters, sculpting, blacksmiths, all Greek gods. And the last one is agriculture. The goddess of the harvest, agriculture, fertility, and sacred law. Yes. So these are all Greek gods. This is how your country gets to a place where it started out being about one thing, but something comes in and takes everybody in the wrong direction. Now, many people would disagree with me, but then look at why does Washington, D.C. look like Rome? It does, with all the pillars and columns, and it looks just like that. So the Greek gods, I've said before, they've for a few years now have reminded me of, well, the fallen angels. And that is in the Bible. The book of Enoch is the book it wasn't put in the Bible, but that's the book it goes more into, the Nephilim. The book of Jude, though, that's in the Bible, that's the book right before Revelations, it talks about how the angels that were upset with God, because God gave free will. That's a true God gives free will. That's the reason why everybody, when they say, why did God put this tree that he didn't want Adam and Eve to take from in the garden? Because he gave them free will. Did he know what they were going to do? Yeah. But he gave them free will to do it. Wouldn't be a real God if you didn't give free will. So it's just eventually mankind goes too far and then God has to step in. So that's basically where we're at now, because people are just stupefied. Really, we don't have, first of all, there's no enlightenment, in my opinion. You just have a lot of gatekeepers in the world of universities and science that are there that help just drive traffic in a certain direction and away from the one thing I'm trying to say, and that's that it all goes back to the Bible, the biblical God. Whether they like it or not, that's eventually, whether you like what I'm saying, whether you think I'm arrogant, I'm telling you, regardless of that, that's eventually what it goes back to. And if you doubt that, just read up on the Nephilim. It's mentioned in the Bible.